The advice that I would give myself when I started in Jiu-Jitsu, that of course I didn't know at that time, and I feel it requires like a lot of experience, like to understand that, is to forget about what other people think about you and just focus on my goals and and what I want to accomplish. I feel like I always had that drive to prove to other people that I was good, or that I was capable of things. Of course, pushed me to be really good, but at the same time was always a nightmare, because it was always I was always under that pressure of what people are thinking, what people are gonna say, and that always made it be less fun. So I always had Jiu-Jitsu for me was always 100% business, since the beginning, since I was a little kid. And I feel I have way more fun now that I don't have this pressure on top of me. And I think this is the kind of advice that I would give. I try to give to my students, and I would give to myself, my young self, don't try to do things to impress others or to prove yourself to others, and just focus 100% on yourself. I try to be a good influence in the class. I try to make the environment be comfortable for everybody, and I think that's what's the most important. We have a huge group that has many different people. We have competitors, we have young athletes that will be black belt world champions, and we have people that do jiu-jitsu once a day or 3 times a week. And I think when you put all of them together and you create a good environment where they are all comfortable and they all support each other and they all help each other, I think it's amazing, and it will only grow. I never like to have the headphones on, because I feel when I put my headphones on, and I feel I'm in a different room. And it's always hard when you take it off, and then you are in that environment where people are screaming, and then the sound is different, and that always made me feel very uncomfortable. So for me, I always like it to be not even warming up, just sitting there and watching my opponents and see their reactions, see how they're fighting, and see how the bracket unfolds, and always be prepared for the fight without any kind of music or this kind of stuff. I felt I was always very comfortable after I see the bracket. Before the bracket, it's always very hard to imagine how the division is gonna be, because there are so many possibilities with the bracket. I felt I was always very nervous before the bracket, but as soon as the bracket was out, I had a path that I had to go, and then how many fights I would have and who I would fight, and that would make me feel more calm and more confident in what I had to do. And every person has a different approach. For me, it was always better to do that. It was always easier. The more I could put myself in that situation and imagine the reactions and imagine how I would be feeling there, I think the more comfortable I would get. I feel I improved a lot over the years, and I got a lot of experience. Before, I would focus 100% on teaching the best technique, or teaching the best strategies to make people win, and then I don't think that's what makes people get comfortable in the environment. That's not what makes people want to stay in the class, and that's not what makes people win competitions. What makes people win competition, want to stay in the class and train more, is the environment that you create. The most important for me is to create that environment where we can balance everything. We can have the young champions on the mat, we can have the older people that train every day or train 3 times a week, and they all are giving their best to improve and to get better every day. I think that's my goal now. Every time I step on the mat is to create a good environment for the class, above the techniques that I'm gonna teach. I think the techniques that I'm gonna teach are always secondary now. When the environment is good, everybody tries harder. I love when the environment is good. I love when I see everybody's there trying their best, and it pushes me to give 100% on the mat too. I feel like when you have like a brother, like or like someone that you care about, I see a lot of people with like a husband or wife or like a girlfriend and boyfriend. Like every time you're competing and you have somebody that you care about that much, like part of your family, that's also going, like you just suffer like in the, like 2 times, you know. Like for me, like it was always harder because like we were basically like in like always like in the same division, and then when we got to the black belt, we were fighting at the same time. So like I would be warming up and then he would be warming up at the same time with me, and then I used to fight like first and then he would fight right after. So I think we both had to like control a lot. I think having like someone like this can be really good. People always ask that too. Can be really good and a real challenge too, because you can have someone there training with you, doing the same thing that you do every day and really motivating you. Like, but at the same time, there's always that comparison between the two. So when you have like a brother, like there's always, this is the first thing that people are gonna think, like, who is better, or like who won it. And if you don't know how to control that, like that can really push you down. I think as a professor, you need to be very open-minded and then try to see and understand a little bit of everything. I think that's what I improved a lot when I stopped competing. Like when I was competing, I was just focusing on my game and the things that I liked to do and what worked for my division. And then as a professor, you really need to understand about like every student. Like you need to see what works for the female student. You need to see what works for the little kid that's gonna compete. So it for sure it forced me to study jiu-jitsu more and like different like possibilities. And as an athlete, I feel you need to do what's comfortable for you, what makes you feel comfortable. I think jiu-jitsu has so many options, and there are so many ways to get good in jiu-jitsu that you don't need to be stuck with like one style or one technique. I think like you just need to study as much as possible and do things that make you feel comfortable. I like to see the academy as a school instead of like a fight club like a lot of academies are. I think it needs to be a place where it's comfortable for everybody, it's comfortable for the whole family. This was the goal since the beginning, since we opened, was to create a place where like the kid can train, like the wife can train, the husband can train, so everybody can feel comfortable in the environment. I think like that's what's very special about AJ. It's comfortable for everybody. Like we have kids that train and then they wait their parents to train right after they train. So like as the whole family like sharing the same passion, it like makes the family like get together and like be even like closer. I think like we have an environment where it's high level jiu-jitsu for everybody, for kids, for adults, for beginners, like for everybody. It's like when you go to school, there's like many schools that you can pick, and then when you decide to go to that school, that's harder to graduate because like the level is higher and it requires you to study more. I feel like once you finish that, once you go there and you finish a school, like you're gonna be very proud of yourself. I think the way like people like to sell the jiu-jitsu classes, like do what's easier for the people that are older or for the kids or for the beginners, just because like so they don't quit. And like I don't agree with that. Like I like to show jiu-jitsu like the way I see and the techniques that I like work like for everybody. So like it doesn't matter if the person is older or if it's a little kid. I think we all are able to learn the same things, and it's just a matter of like putting work and dedication and like being in the right environment. So like I don't like to separate like people by age. I teach the same jiu-jitsu for everybody.